Welcome back to the live demonstration area, ladies and gentlemen. We are now very pleased to welcome Magnum Venus Products to the stage. MVP is a global manufacturer of fluid movement and production solutions for industrial applications in composites and adhesive markets. Charles Tur is a renowned expert in resin transfer molding and infusion technology. Charles will take us through a detailed process of constructing a silicone membrane within an existing mold. Charles, the demonstration floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. And we are going on that demo to show you a little bit how to build a silicone bag and what it's for and why we build it like that. So to build a good and efficient silicone membrane, we talk about a membrane we can produce easily 1,000 parts. It's necessary to focus on production before you build the mold, before you build the bag. And the main points are easy membrane, easy to load, without clamp, without any mistake. This is why we have a groove on the mold, is to close the bag. Then simple, one injection port. Doesn't matter the size of your bag, you have only one injection port. It can be a membrane for 1 square meter to a membrane to 30 square meter, only one injection port. Fast, quick injection. As fast you can inject the part, as longer will be the life of the bag. And clean. Every time you demold a bag, when you demold the part, your mold has to be clean. If you think about it before you design a pattern and you build your mold, you will success and make money in production. So on the silicone membrane details, we have first the closing system, which is a groove that you have all around the mold. Then you have a vacuum channel that we create into the vacuum bag. And then we have the resin channel itself that we call collapsible resin channel. It's working like that. So we have the female mold with the groove. Then we load the fiber after or without the gel coat. Then we put what we call a resin stopper. A resin stopper is some product that will stop the resin, but let the air pass through to continue to pull the vacuum. Then we have a bag. To guarantee there is no leak, we pull the vacuum into the groove to suck down the membrane into the groove. Even if you don't do that, it will work, but that is a security in production. And then to assist the resin flow, we have one vacuum port that we pull the vacuum all around the part. Then we inject the part and the resin arrives. The resin stopper stops the resin and there is no resin coming on the pipe to the vacuum pump. So this is the dimension and we have a seal that we use to build the mold. That seal is designed for that. It's a rounded seal because it's easier to laminate. We bond it on the pattern and we laminate the mold on the top of it. When we demold, this is a two-part seal, and we demold, we remove only one part of the seal. We leave the other one inside the mold, and we are going to build the membrane on the top of it. That will be our vacuum channel. Then nearby, we have what we call a window seal. That seal is a seal that we load here on the border of the mold to help to pull the vacuum all around the part. Then when we start to build the bag, we first pour the silicone into the resin into the closing channel, and then after that we spray the silicone all around to build the silicone membrane. When we demold the silicone bag, then we remove the second part of the seal. Like that we have a cavity where we will be able to pull the vacuum. Collapsible channel is working like that. If you apply the vacuum, you collapse it, the resin can flow. If you don't apply the vacuum, it's flat. It means you are able to inject the resin and to not see how you have injected the resin. So it's working like that. You have the female mold where you load the glass. Then you come with the seal and you apply the first vacuum to close the bag on the top of the glass. Then after that you apply a second vacuum, which is completely independent, to collapse the silicone membrane. Then you are able to introduce the resin, and the resin will flow easily into the resin channel. And as soon as you finish to inject the part, you stop pulling the vacuum into the resin channel only, and the bag will come back on its original position. No resin waste, no print through because of the excess of resin, no waste. So for that, we have an injection port and we load the resin channel, both sides of it. I'm going to show you that. That injection port is made by 3D printing tools. So for example, here is the port to inject the resin. So that we have made by pouring the silicone into the two-part mold, which is 3D printed. Then we get that part, and that part works with a seal and the lips. So when the lips open by the vacuum, the resin flow. If it's closed, the resin doesn't flow. It's so simple like that. And that part we load on the top of the mold before we start building the silicone bag. So you can see the lips, and you can have different form. So you can have a straight one, but you can have a cross one. What it means, and I will show that tomorrow on my next demo, we can go for sequential injection using a single injection port. That technology permits to do a lot of things in injection. So the first thing we do is to pre-cut the technical cloth. A silicone bag is built like that. And to be sure that your bag will be resistant and have a long life, that membrane cannot excess 3-4 millimeter thick. A thick membrane will absorb more styrene. There is no sense. But we want to reinforce the bag to be sure that we control the thickness and to be sure that there is no tearing, no damage in production. So that's why we use a technical cloth to reinforce the bag when we build it with the silicone. We have two kinds of technical cloth, sorry. We have one which is a non-stretchable cloth to reinforce the bag. And we have another one that we will load below the resin channel, which is stretchable. Because if it's not stretchable, the silicone cannot collapse. So that's the thickness of the bag. You can see on the screen. It's no more than 3 millimeters. So we apply one layer, and we leave it cure. When we apply one layer of silicone, we brush it. Why? Because the silicone is a thick material, and we don't want any microporosity. So we leave it cure. Then we build the second layer. We leave it cure. Then we build the third layer. We load the cloth inside. We just cover the cloth by silicone, and the membrane is done. Like that, we guarantee there is no microporosity crossing the full bag. So this is the two cloths that we have, as I explained, the stretchable and the non-stretchable. So first, we pre-cut the cloth. So this is what I have done here. We have electrical scissors, and we cut the cloth, and we just pre-cut everything ready for producing the bag. If you try to do that when you spray silicone, as soon the cloth touches the silicone, it's complicated to cut it. So for that, we have a silicone machine. The silicone machine unit is there. So it's a very basic machine. It's 2 pumps. We have a silicone 1-to-1, and we just mix the silicone into a static mixer. What we have is a special nozzle. So by that nozzle, you will see that when we spray silicone, you can make small bag, you can make big bag. We produce our own gun for silicone, and that's the innovation of the machine. So we have also a 1-to-10 silicone. So it can be 1-to-1 or 1-to-10 according to your needs. So we produce both machines. So today we are using a silicone from Elkem that we have worked with them to develop. What we expect from the silicone, we expect that first minimum we have 30-minute gel time. That's very important if you want to have the time to load the cloth inside. Then, when you spray on the vertical area, you want to be sure that the silicone will not fall down. So that silicone has to be thixotrop. And it has to accept to work on different temperature, according where you are. So it has to be flexible. It's not so easy. So Elkem was flexible enough to develop the right silicone. That's why we are working on that. And we collaborate on other kind of silicone that I will explain tomorrow. So you have all information about that silicone that we call Bluesy RTV 3724. So now let me show you how we make a bag. I don't have too much time, so I will shortcut a little bit. I will use glove in case. So this is the mold that I have made, just to show you how it works. I load already the window sill, and now the only thing I have to do is to apply the silicone. So as I explained on the silicone, we can spray or we can pour. So the first thing I will do, I miss it here. Plop, plop, plop. I put a little tube to be sure that the silicone will not go inside the insert. And I pour some silicone on the top of the insert. And I have a brush, and I just stretch the silicone. That silicone is 20,000 centipoids, but as you can see, it's very well textured. Now, before I'm going to spray the silicone, I have to pour the silicone into the groove. So this is what I'm doing now. I just pour the silicone to fill the groove with the silicone. If you don't fill it completely, you don't worry. You have 4 layers to fill properly the groove, so that's not an issue. And of course, you can manage the pump to put more silicone or less according to the speed you work. So it's very easy to manage the machine. We have a regulator, air regulator, and you just put more pressure on the pump, then you dispense more silicone at the same time. And now what I'm doing, I'm spraying the silicone. So as you can see, it's very easy to spray the silicone. Voila. So after that, to be sure that there is no microporosity, what we do, we brush the silicone. How to know that you have enough silicone? If you are not able to move and to slide your brush properly on the silicone, it means you don't have enough silicone. And at the opposite, if you have too much silicone, you will see a thick orange layer, which is not the best. It's not a problem, but it's better that you have a fine layer. And on the first layer, if you have a fine layer, it will cure faster. It will take approximately 1 hour to gel. How to know to put the second layer on the top of it? Your finger has to slide on the silicone without damaging the silicone. The silicone do not cure like a gel coat. The silicone will cure on the skin and then will cure on the surface. So as I explained, I have to shortcut my demo because I have only 25 minutes, which is complicated. So normally what I do now, I leave it cure, and I apply the second layer. Then on the third layer, I'm going to load the cloth. First, I have to load the stretchable band below the collapsible resin channel. So this is what I'm doing. I put some silicone. I do not brush the silicone. I come with the cloth, and I put the cloth here, which is the stretchable cloth. Like that. Up, properly done. And with the brush, you just slide, and the cloth thickness is calculated to absorb the silicone. So you don't have to worry. 1 layer is enough. When you have done that, you spray a little bit of silicone on the top of it, and then you apply your cloth. So don't try to do everything in once. It's better to go step by step. So your cloth is pre-cut. It goes exactly where we want it to go. You can help with your hands to load it. If you miss some cloth, you can add anytime a little bit part of cloth. Is not a problem. Like that. So as you can see, it's very easy. We have calculated and surveyed all the details about the cloth, about the silicone, and so on. So to make a bag is nothing complicated, but to be sure that everybody can do it is another job. So here, after that, we go for the border. Voilà. And here you take the second part and you load your second part on the top, and you just overlap a little bit. So if you overlap like for 10 millimeters is more than enough, and you leave the cloth passing outside of the mold for like 1 or 2 centimeters. That will be very helpful when you will demold the bag. So you just do that, like that, and you finish everything properly. it's better to put a little bit more silicone below, because if not, you have what I have here. So what you do to not have it, you apply a little bit more silicone where you need. You brush your silicone. And then when you put your cloth on the top of it, you will see the difference. Then you fill everything properly. Okay, so it's complicated to do that in once. Normally, we do that step by step, and you have plenty of time to make the good job. Okay, so no need to waste too much time on that. I will stop it here, and I will go to the next step. So the next step is this one. I have made the bag. Now I have to create the resin channel. My resin channel is a half corrugated tube. That corrugated tube is two plastic bonded together, inside, outside. So what it means, when you take a heat gun, you heat it, it will come flat, or it will follow exactly the shape of your mold. Then you just load it, like that. Yeah, I will load on the top of that, doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe I can remove that. Hop. I will put it back here properly. I put it here, and in this case, what you do, you take again your silicone machine. You just pour the silicone on the top of it. Then you brush. So to do that, you have to be sure that your membrane is cured. Why? Because you don't want that the corrugated tube pushed down inside. So you take your cloth. Of course, is everything pre-cut. You put your cloth on the top of that. And then you just apply properly your cloth on the top of it. Just like that. And after it, you put a little bit more silicone. And you slide properly your silicone to tight your part of membrane, which is on the top of the resin channel. That's it. That's all you have to do. Okay? So then, after that, you go for the next step, which is the bag I have done previously to show you how it's working. So then I remove the bag, as I explained. Voilà. The first time you demold the bag, it's stretchable. So, up. Then, on your bag, you remove the window sill, which is coming like that. And then you remove your other part of the seal, the one I was talking about. Allez. Voilà. Allez, Charles. Allez. Up. And carefully, you just remove it. Then, when that one will fit into the mold, you will have your vacuum channel below. What you cannot do is to make a bag directly on the surface of the mold. As you have seen, I have calibrated the part thickness. It's very important you calibrate the part thickness, not necessarily on the flat area, but especially on the vertical area. If you don't calibrate the part thickness, the membrane will be too big and you will have wrinkles and so on. And that's not the best. So we do recommend to calibrate the part thickness. Then you have that kind of membrane, which is 3 millimeters, and here you can easily go for a lot of part. And this is the collapsible resin channel that I explained. So let me show you how it works in production. So on the top of that, we will load a metal insert. We call it a universal insert. On that kind of universal insert, you can load all the MVP accessories, which are vacuum connection, injection port, valve, demolding, anything is universal. We design it like that at MVP. Then what you cannot forget is what you will do with your membrane in production. You may lift your membrane, so you need to glue something on the top of it to be able to lift. And then you are ready to inject the part. So now how it's working in production. We have a project where I was last month, which is the company Redneck, who produce a hunting cabin in USA. They produce 40 cabins per day. So it's a lot. They have the floor, they have the roof, and here the customer is asking to produce the roof. This is the company, and to produce the roof, which is approximately 5 square meters, it takes a lot of space on the workshop. Why? Because first they have to apply the gel coat, then they hand laminate the first layer. To be able to demold, they put the extra fiber on the top of it, on the flange. Then after that, they trim the flange, so it's a loss of waste. Then after that, they have to put back the part horizontal. They will bond the wood inside, because it's a sandwich construction, and then they will laminate again the fiber on the top of it. We moved to silicone bag for many reasons, but the main reason was to save time and space into the workshop. So here we calibrate the part thickness. It's a sandwich area, so we just put wood inside. We build the silicone bag, and look at the resin channel. The resin channel is designed to save time in production. It means to inject fast. So we load the 2 layers of fiberglass with the core in the middle, and we cut the glass precisely where the part ends. Then we put some resin stopper around that you can see on the flange, and we inject the part. And by injecting the part like that, we can see that the distance of the resin flow is the same between the 2 lines and the center of the line to the border of the mold. So the resin will arrive all around the part at the same time. We do inject 15 liters of resin in 6 minutes. So you imagine the time saving in production. And when we demold the part, we use vacuum to demold the part. There is no extra resin. Then we don't stress the mold because there is no wedges, there is no hammer, there is nothing. So we don't have to reapply the release agent and so on and so on. And when we demold the part, there is no more trimming. So that saves a lot of waste, dust, time, and space on the workshop. So a silicone bag is not just a silicone bag. A silicone bag is something that you have to think about for your production. We focus on production. To make a silicone bag, anybody can do that. You arrive at the end of the pocket with your machine, you spray some silicone, it will work. But you want it to work minimum 1,000 times. And that's the most important. So our recommendation is to focus on the production. Think about it when you design your pattern. Think about it, how will be your flange, what the people will do, how they produce the part, how they protect the flange when they apply the gel coat, how they load the glass. Glass has to be pre-cut to be sure that they will not damage the mold with the scissors, and so on and so on. This is where you will save time and money, and this is what we do recommend at MVP. That's why we organize training. I will show you that. And we do congratulate Redneck, of course, for the way they build their move to the closed mold production. I don't have my slide. Thank you very much. Our next demo will be tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going how to inject a part with a big membrane, and there is some specification on that membrane. We will show you also how we inject a part with a plastic bag that we close, what we call SVB seal. Anyway, if you want to see all these details, you can come to our booth, which is all 5U58. You're welcome for any question you have, and if you want to touch, if you want to see, everything is there. Mold, membrane, seal, and so on. Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you so much, Charles. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the next demonstration with Charles will be tomorrow. There is a different demonstration with MVP and Intech this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay for the next demonstration, which will be with Thermwood at 11:30. Otherwise, enjoy your day at the JEC World.